Okay.
Let's go.
All right, ready? Ready as we're going to be? All right. So, thank you guys. Let's be mindful definitely of noise levels and things like that. Welcome to the Scarlet Letter debate, all right, in which we have two sides today. We have the affirmative side, which is, which side? Okay, Alana's side. And then we have the negative side over here. The affirmative side is arguing in favor of the city. So I'm going to call you Boston. I'm going to call this side Boston, and then this side over here, Hester. That's the negative side, arguing for Hester to retain custody of Pearl. Okay? So you remind debate etiquette. Only speak when it's your turn to speak, and be mindful of others as they are speaking. I do realize that some people will be typing during the time that others are speaking. That is okay. That is expected. However, don't let the talking override who is currently speaking. Excuse me. Present evidence in the order that you're called to do so. Make sure that you have your group doc open so that you're able to take notes while the speakers are speaking. Okay? We don't want to spend a whole lot of time waiting and pausing because we don't have that information already pulled up. And just breathe. This is a non-judgmental zone, except at the end where I judge you. Okay? So be confident in your arguments, take it easy, and just relax, just breathe. You guys got this, okay? We will decide which side is going to go first by a coin toss. Who wants to call it? All right, so this side, Boston says heads. All right, oops. Flip a coin. It says heads.
Okay.
It says heads,
That's
right?
crazy, yeah.
All right. All right, so Boston is opening up. We have our first speaker for Boston's side.
My shoes on time.
Nostrums, you can't see it last names.
So I just want to establish that Adam, you guys all know and love, is not here with us right now. This is Mr. Noir, the lawyer. So anyway, members of the court, we gather here on this fine evening to discuss the unfaithful Hester Prynne and her innocent offspring. When faced to contemplate over where the custody of young Pearl shall rest, me and my associates have established ample proof to support the claim that follows this statement. Hester is not a fit mother to govern the life of Pearl. When one loses the ability to control their own sin within themselves, how can we expect them to govern the sin of another being? How can we expect them to successfully raise a child to control their own sin and then their children and their grandchildren? Okay. Her inability to control her offspring's sin has been evident by young Pearl's aggression and attitude to not only other children, but also adults. Oh my God, this is so hard to read. Hester herself has also a very negative outlook on her own child, dressing said child in red, and according to witnesses, referring to Pearl as her torture, along with her happiness. Happiness and despair are two emotions that cannot collude in one being. One will take over the other, and it is typically despair. To have a healthy mother and daughter relationship, you cannot view your daughter as a punishment or as an embodiment of your sin. Hester has started her own chain of sin on the day that she cheated on her husband. And if allowed to do so, she will raise her daughter to continue forging this chain, and this chain will continue and will eventually grow beyond the level where it can be shattered. We recommend that Pearl be removed from this toxic and sinful environment and transplanted to a traditional and happy environment in our own town. Hester has been excommunicated from the church, and therefore Pearl has no good access to the righteous path to which she will meet our Heavenly Father in heaven one day if she does walk this path. Child cannot grow to become a successful and faithful Puritan if allowed to fester in a sinful and inadequate housing that Hester Prynne has offered her, void of any social contact with any other of God's faithful disciples than her mother, who has proven to be an insufficient citizen and mother in the eyes of God. Pearl's imagination is allowed to run freely, even allowing Pearl to question her origins and mock our religion. It is our duty as the elect Puritan society to guide those around us onto the path of righteousness. And by turning a blind eye to what Hester is doing with her child Prin, we would be defying this duty that we have been granted by our Heavenly Father.
All right, thank you. And now we'll have our first speaker from the negative side, which is arguing for Hester to retain custody.
Okay, let it be known to the people of the city of Boston and the jury that Pearl, the daughter of Hester Prynne, shouldn't be taken from her mother. And from now on, we will refer to Hester Prynne as Miss Prynne. To start with, our group of acquaintances had an interview with Reverend Dimsdale where he said this line that really stood out to us. And he goes, "How can we as townspeople claim to be holy when we know that Pearl is Hester's redemption? If we do this, we would be actively damning a woman to lay with the devil. She would not be better than Satan himself to go against the holiest of books, our priest that speaks to God himself. So how can you, as a city of Boston, claim to be a holy society when you're willing to take actions that would diminish your image to resemble that of Satan himself?" And to go with this sin, Hester would know better than anyone. She's able to teach Pearl better than anyone to not commit these sins, and would be able to show Pearl the mistakes and use her mistakes that she's made previous in life and diminish those possibilities of them happening in the future. To go with some of y'all's tenets of religion, one of them is predestination, which is God's plan that he has for everyone. With this in mind, Pearl was given to Hester as a form of redemption. So taking Pearl from Hester would be contradicting your beliefs and the plan that God has set for them. You also believe in providence, which is God's overview and protection of everyone. So God would not have let Pearl be on this earth if it weren't for his judgment and protection. The children and adults of Boston, of the city of Boston, make fun of and torment Pearl and her mother. This action causes Pearl to act rashly among others. And with this in mind, we believe that these actions would carry over to Pearl if she were placed in another household. It's because she would be placed in an unfamiliar environment with people that see her as solely the product of sin. Which is why she should be left with her mother, because she's able to stay in a familiar environment that would be healthy for her growth and help her prosper as a child. And a point that we had come across with y'all's beliefs is to Puritans, a person by nature who is wholly sinful would achieve good only by severe and remedying discipline. With Miss Prynne's efforts to display her craftsmanship throughout the city, who even the governor has asked her to do work for because of the quality, she is using this severe and unremedying discipline by not committing any sins and helping the community as a whole. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have our second speaker from the affirmative side.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Hester has not taught Pearl the meaning of our religion or of our way. On many occasions it has been heard that Pearl, not knowing of our Heavenly Father, Hester Prynne, has done so much wrong. But we will be doing more wrong by allowing this child to grow up in a sinful home. Pearl knows not of the sanctioned clothing in the Puritan religion. Pearl is dressed as red and seen wearing gold which is against our sanctioned laws. Pearl was an observant child, and all she's ever been drawn to is the Scarlet Letter. We've seen her associating the Scarlet Letter with her own tantrums. How could we allow this child to continue to throw these tantrums in her own home due to this Scarlet Letter seen here? Not to mention, her own tantrums couldn't even be soothed by her mother. In the prison, we had to send Roger Chillingworth to soothe this child. And it is in this prison that Hester spoke of how she wanted to commit suicide, suicide by which is a mortal sin. By removing Pearl from Hester, we will teach Hester a valuable lesson as well as preserving the purity of Pearl. The city of Boston wishes nothing more than for Pearl to grow into a most outstanding citizen. We can't have that while Hester is raising her. Pearl is being raised in a one-parent home. In this one-parent home, we have heard whispers of Pearl not being raised to our standards, as I've mentioned before. The good Puritan morals require a mother and a father to raise a successful child. By Hester Prynne denying the patriarchal heritage of Pearl, she has denied the key basis for this child to grow up. While the child hasn't done anything of evil, Hester's influence has already spread. If you don't believe me, look at the hands of the governor. Look at the delicate embellishments of your spouses. Whose hands grace that needle those embellishments come from? None other than Hester Prynne. We vote to remove Pearl from the home of Hester to halt the spread of Hester's evil.
All right, thank you. All right, now we'll have our second speaker from the negative side.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of this fine court. Today, I will talk to you about what else we can talk about. So, as we all know, Hester, Miss Prynne, and Pearl, they are, sorry for the interruption, Miss Prynne and her daughter, they have been bonded since the day that Miss Prynne knew she was pregnant. From the moment they've had 9 months together to form a bond, and then since then they've grown up together. These powerful emotions that you can be sure. These powerful emotions that are not scarce in this book, in this town, have been felt by every citizen. The emotions just welling up in me. This bond, this powerful things would have many effects if it was broken. Some negative to Miss Prynne and some negative to the town. It's not a win for any party if Pearl is taken away. Making Pearl a ward of the state would cause irreparable damage to Hester and Pearl, mentally and physically. Taking away a child from its parents is very traumatic. Separation anxiety, loss of confidence, everything that makes Pearl who she is would be lost in this. This is proven by the fact that Hester considers Pearl to be her only valuable possession. Pearl is something that was bought with everything, every ounce of fiber that Hester has. Hester has given everything that she has to take care of this child, and it would be unfair for the courts to remove her. Speaking of Hester's life, there is nobody in this town who is better to teach the rights and wrongs than Miss Prynne. I'm sure we have all made mistakes in our life. Nobody is all black and white. There is many shades to sin. Nobody is completely innocent. And it would be hypocritical for you, the city of Boston, to take away this child. Hester is no exception to this, as you all are. She is the perfect example of what not to do, and the perfect teacher of such things. Speaking more onto this bond, Miss Prynne and Pearl are specifically made for each other. Placing her with another family would be extremely difficult. as we all know, this child, Pearl, has a very unique personality. She would be very difficult to place with another family. They wouldn't accept her as much because they're all biased. The town, the people, the religion is all biased against them, this family. Because we are such a new colony here in Boston, there is not an adequate foster system that would accept such a child as Pearl. Pearl is a very unique case and would be very expensive for the state of Boston to care for, to clothe, to feed, to educate, to replace, to rehome. In this foster system, which does not exist, Pearl would no doubt face more neglect, more hurt, more torment, more trauma. This is not what this family deserves. Additionally, Hester does not deserve to face further punishment. Her punishment was already decided long ago, and since then it should be very obvious that this woman has spared no effort in making it apparent she has repented. Miss Prynne goes out and she sits with the sick. She helps them. She goes out and she betters her community. She makes fine garments for people who buy them. She is known to sit with the sick and the weak and to nurse them back to health or to help them pass on gently. These are not the actions of an evil, uncaring woman. However, it is said by Miss Prynne herself that if Pearl was to be taken away, she would become an evil woman. And that's not something that this town and this settlement of Boston would want. My sources say that while she was in the governor's home, she said, and I quote, "I must tarry home and keep watch over my little Pearl. Had they taken her from me, I would have willingly gone with thee into the forest and signed my name into the black man's book too, and with that my own blood." These are not the words of an evil woman. These are the words of a mother who has been traumatized by her situation. She is not, our client, Miss Prynne, she is not saying here that she wants to be intentionally evil. However, she will regress back into sin from which she has repented if her daughter is taken away. That is all I have to say.
All right, thank you. So we're going to take about a 1 to 2 minute intermission to allow for you guys to kind of collaborate as you prepare for rebuttal. Now remember, rebuttal has to do with the arguments that you just listened to. That is separate from the questioning. Those are two separate things, okay? So we're going to start our intermission now, and like I said, about a minute or two.